Welcome to another edition of Mathematics and I. I'm your presenter, Jefferson, and today we will be ending the topic indices. And as you can see, we have 4 questions on the board, and we shall be attempting these 4 questions. And number 3 has to do with indices that leads to simultaneous equation, and number 4 has to do with indices that leads to quadratic equation. So let's begin. Now, question number 1 says 3 raised to the power of 3x is equal to 81 raised to the power of 3 over 4. Now, if you remember our previous class, I told you that this is a fractional power law and that the denominator becomes the root of the base, which is 81. So when we have something like this, it becomes 3 raised to the power of 3x is equal to the 4th root of 81 raised to the power of 3, which is the numerator. Now we explain what 4th roots means. It means a number you will multiply 4 times to get 81, and that number is 3, because 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 3 is 27, and 27 times 3 is 81. So when we have this, it becomes 3 raised to the power of 3x is equal to, now the 4th root of 81 now is 3 raised to the power of 3. Now you notice something, that the base here is 3 and also the base here is 3. And you will notice that the sign that separates these two bases is an equality sign. Now, when you have two bases separated by an equality sign and the bases are the same, what happens? The base cancel out. So when base 3 cancel out base 3, what do I have left? I have 3x is equal to 3. And then we are looking for the value of x. So for us to get the value of x, it means x has to be the subject of the formula. And what does it mean for something to be the subject of the formula? It means it stands alone. Now, what is making x not to be the subject of the formula? Is 3, which is the coefficient. So what do? I have to divide by 3 and also by 3. Now when 3 cancel out 3, I have x. Now x is standing alone. So now 3 divided by 3 is 1. So it means the value of x, so question number 1, is 1. Now, with that, apart from using this method, I can also use, apart from using the fractional power law to solve this, I can also use another method to solve this question, and we will still get the value of what? X, which is 1. Now let's see. Let's begin this way now. Now, the question was 3 raised to the power of 3x is equal to 81 raised to the power of 3 over 4. Now, I want to use fractional power law now to solve it. This is what I will do. Now, this is 3 raised to the power of 3x. Now, the question is, my base here is 3, but my base here is 81. Now, what do? I will break 81 to base 3. Now, how can you break 81 to base 3? It means, how many times will you multiply base 3 to give you 81? And when we solved it here, it was 4 times. So it means 3 raised to the power 4 is the same thing as 81. So what does that mean? Anywhere I see 81, I'll put 3 raised to the power 4. So it becomes 3 raised to the power 4 times the power that 81 was carrying before, which is 3 over 4. Now without wasting time, here becomes 3 raised to the power of 3x is equal to 3 raised to the power of 4 times 3 is 12. It becomes 12 over 4. So here becomes 3 raised to the power of 3x is equal to 3 raised to the power of 12 divided by 4 will give us 3. Now you see we are back to the same place. An equality sign separating two bases that are the same. What happened? They cancel out. So here becomes 3x is equal to 3. Also, dividing both sides by the coefficient of x, which is 3, x is equal to 1. So you see, I can apply fractional power law, and also I can apply making the base the same, and then you will get the same answer. So that is question number 1. So let us go to question number 2. Now, question number 2 says 5 raised to the power of x plus 3 over 25 raised to the power of 2x minus 3 is equal to 5 raised to the power of x. Now, some students see this as complex, but it is not. What do I have to do? Simple. I base 5 raised to the power x over 1, and then I cross multiply to make it a straight, to make it a straight question, no longer having fractions. Now, when I cross multiply, the one on top here multiplies the one down, and the one at the denominator multiplies the one at the numerator. So it means we're going to have 5 raised to the power of x plus 3 times 1 equal to 25 raised to the power of 25 raised to the power of 2x minus 3 times, now we have this, times, now what do we have as a numerator here? 5 raised to the power of x. Now I have cross multiplied. The numerator multiplies the denominator multiplies the numerator. Now we all know that anything times 1 will give it back. So 5 raised to the power of x plus 3 times 1 will still give me 5 raised to the power of x plus 3. Now, equal to. Now, I cannot multiply 25 and 5. Why? Because the base here is 25 and the base here is 5. And remember, from the beginning of the class, when we use multiplication law, we said when the base are the same and you are timesing, times becomes plus. But in this case, times cannot become plus because why? The base are different. So what is the first thing you are expected to do? You are expected to make sure that the base are the same. Now what should we do to make the base the same? Now this is base 25 and this is base 5. Now what do? We break 25 to base 5. And how do you break 25 to base 5? How many times will you multiply 5 to give you 25? And that will be 2. 5 times 5. So how do you write it in index form? It becomes 5 raised to the power of 2. Because you multiply 5 2 times. So what does that mean? Anywhere I see 25, what will I put now? 5 raised to the power 2. So here becomes 5 raised to the power of 2 bracket. Now you remember bracket means times. Now what are we timesing now? The original power that 25 was carrying, which is 2x minus 3. Now times, what do I have here? 5 raised to the power of x. Now without wasting time, I have this 5 raised to the power of x plus 3 is equal to 5. Now we have to open the bracket. How do you open the bracket? The number outside the bracket multiplies the number inside the bracket. And then we have this 2 times 2x gives us 4x minus 2 times 3 gives us 6 times 5 raised to the power of x. Now you will see 5 raised to the power of x plus 3 is equal to. You will notice that the base now is 5 and the base is 5. And what sign is separating them? Times. Now it is possible for times to become plus because the base are the same. So what do? I pick one of the base, 1, 5. Then what do I do to the powers? I will add because times becomes plus. So here becomes 4x minus 6. Then times becomes plus. And what do we have here? Plus x. Now, without wasting time, you will now notice now that the basis has reduced from 3 base to 2 base. And then we said in example 1 that when 2 bases are the same and the sign separating them is an equality sign, what happens? They cancel out. So 5 cancel out 5. So what do we have? X plus 3 is equal to 4x minus 6 plus x. Now, the math is what? Easy. It becomes a simple linear equation. Now, what is the next thing we do? We collect like terms. All numbers carrying x go to one place, and numbers without x go to another. So, if I have x here, it means 4x has to come. It means plus x has to come. Now, remember, when plus crosses an equality sign, it becomes negative. So, what does that mean? 4x is carrying a positive sign. When plus 4x crosses, it becomes minus 4x. And when plus x crosses, it becomes minus x. Equal to. Now, when this 4x and x crosses, What is left here? Minus 6. Make sure you write what is left before you write what you are bringing to avoid you being confused. So now, when you write what is remaining here, minus 6. Now remember, plus 3 is not carrying x. Plus 3 will go and meet minus 6. And when plus 3 crosses, it becomes what? Minus 3. So automatically, without wasting time, this becomes x minus 4x minus x. Now, x minus 4x is minus 3x. Minus 3x minus x is minus 4x. X minus 4x is minus 3s. Minus 3s minus s is minus 4x. So here becomes minus 4x is equal to. Now, minus 6 minus 3. Now, remember I explained in my last slide that the word minus means you are owing. Now, when you are owing 6 and you are also owing 3, how much are you owing? 9. Now, what sign shows you are owing? Negative. So it means minus 6 minus 3 is minus 9. So without wasting time, I am looking for the value of x. What do? I divide by anything that is making x not to stand alone. And what is that thing? Minus 4. So here becomes over minus 4. And here becomes over minus 4. So what happened? Minus cancel minus, 4 cancel 4. What do I have left? X. When minus cancel minus, what do I have left? 9 over 4. Why did I leave my answer as 9 over 4? Because nothing can cancel. Now, this 9 over 4 is an improper fraction. Now, it depends on the way the answer is left. Either they leave it in an improper fraction or you convert to a mixed fraction. Now, how do you convert improper fraction to mixed? It is very simple. How many times can 4 go into 9? It is 2 times. That's 2 whole number. Now, that 2 times is 8. So how many will be remaining? 1. The 1 will be as the numerator over 4, which is the denominator. So it means x is 9 over 4 as what? An improper fraction. And 2 whole number, 1 over 4 as what? A mixed fraction. That is the solution to question number 2. Now, without wasting time, we go to question number 3. Now, question number 3, I said from the beginning of the class, takes us to simultaneous equation. Now, most students don't understand how simultaneous equation works. Yes, there will be classes on that as we proceed. But I'm just going to try my best to see how you understand how it works with simultaneous equation. Now, the question was 2 raised to the power of x times 4 raised to the power of 2y equal to 8 and 3 raised to the power x over 9 raised to the power y is equal to 1 over 27. Now, how do I start solving this? This is what I will do. From this first place, I will begin to solve. Let's forget about the second one. Let's talk about the first. Now, the first says 2 raised to the power x times 4 raised to the power 2y equal to 8. Now, let's start. The base is 2 here. The base is 4. And the base is 8. Now, you will notice that the smallest base among them is 2. So, what do? We break base 4 to 2. We break base 8 to 2. Now, how do we do that? How many times are we multiplying 2 to get 4? 2 times. How many times are we multiplying 2 to get 8? 3 times. So, it means 2 times 2 is 4. And 2 times 2 in index form is 2 raised to the power 2. So what does that mean? Anywhere I see 4, what will I put? 2 raised to the power 2. So here becomes 2 raised to the power x times 2 raised to the power 2 times 2y. Where did I get this 2y from? The original power that 4 was carrying. Equal to, now what do I have here? 8. How many times are we multiplying 2 to get 8? 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 2, 8. So we multiply 3 times. So what does that mean? 2 raised to the power 3. So anywhere I see 8, I put 2 raised to the power 3. So here becomes 2 raised to the power of 3. Now without wasting time, class, here becomes, watch me now. 2 raised to the power x times 2 raised to the power 2 times 2y will give us 4y equal to 2 raised to the power 3. Now you will notice that the base here is 2, the base here is 2, and the sign separated them is times. And we said when the base are the same and you have a multiplication sign separating them, the times becomes plus. So what do? We pick one of the base, 2, and then what do we do to the powers? We add. So here becomes x plus 4y equal to, what do I have here? 2 raised to the power of 3. Now you will observe that the base, there are not two bases, but these two bases is now separated by an equality sign. And we said when two bases that are the same is separated by an equality sign, what happens? The base cancel out. So what do we have here? X plus 4y is equal to 3. Now you call this equation number 1. Now we've gotten equation number 1. What are we looking for next now? Equation number 2. Now, how can you get equation number 2? It's using the second part of the mass. This was the first part. Now this is the second part. Now, how do we work with the second part? Let's bring it out. Step by step. No time. Now, the second part says 3 raised to the power x over 9 raised to the power y is equal to 1 over 27. Now, let us make the mass easier. This is in a fractional form. Let's make it straight, like what we did in our example number 2. So the best thing we have to do first is to do what? Cross multiply. Let us cross multiply. Now when we cross multiply, we're going to have this. 3 raised to the power x, we multiply 27. 9 raised to the power y, we multiply 1. You must follow the order. So here becomes 3 raised to the power x times 27 is equal to 9 raised to the power y times 1. Simple. So now, when we do this, I have to make sure I'm implementing the board. We have this. Now what? Here becomes 3 raised to the power x times 27 is equal to 9 raised to the power y times 1 will also give us 9 raised to the power y. Now let's see. The base is 3. The base is 27, the base is 9. They are different. So we have to bring it to the smallest base. Now the smallest base is 3. Now, how many times are we multiplying 3 to get 27? It was 3 times. Because 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 3 is 27. So how do you write it in index form? 3 raised to the power 3. So automatically I have this. 3 raised to the power x times 3 raised to the power 3, which is now 27, is equal to, now, I also have 9. So I also have to bring base 9 to base 3. So how many times are we multiplying 3 to get 9? I think 2 times. 3 times 3, 9. So how do you write it? 3 raised to the power 2. So here it becomes 3 raised to the power of 2 times the y that was there. The original power of 9. So here becomes 3 raised to the power 8. Now let's see. Watch me. Let's make it brief. Now you will now notice that I have base 3, I have base 3, and the sign separating them is times. Remember what we do? Pick one of the base, times becomes plus. So here becomes 3 raised to the power of x plus 3 is equal to 3 raised to the power of 2y, because 2 times y gives us 2y. Now without wasting time, again, we have two bases that are the same, separated by an equality sign. What happened? 3 cancel out 3. So what do we have? X plus 3 is equal to 2y. Now, to follow the step of equation 1, because in equation 1, there was x, and there was y, and there was a constant. So what does that mean? 2y will come and meet x, and plus 3 will go to the other side. Now, when 2y comes, it becomes minus 2y. So here becomes x minus 2y is equal to, now when plus 3 goes, it becomes minus 3. This becomes what? Equation 2. Now, we've got equation 1, and we've got equation 2. So what do? We solve simultaneously. Why is it a simultaneous equation 1? Because it has two variables, x and y. And how do you solve simultaneous equation problems? You get the answers one after the other. Either you get x and then you get y, or you get y and then you get x. Now, let us bring these two equations together. The first equation says x plus 4y is equal to 3. And the second equation says x minus 2y is equal to minus 3. Now, we are going to use an eliminating method, although we are going to have a special class on simultaneous equation. But without wasting time, if you take a look at this math closely, you will notice that my x as equation 1 is the same as equation 2, just x. So because we have one variable that is the same, that is alike, what do? You subtract. Now when we subtract, x minus x gives us 0. We have eliminated x. So what do we now have here now? 4y minus 2y. Let me bring it out. 4y minus 2y. Now, this first minus is the minus. This second minus is the minus that 2y is carrying. Now, you can't work with two signs at the middle. So what do? Multiply the sign. Minus times minus gives us what? Plus. So what do we have? 4y plus 2y. And 4y plus 2y will give us what? 6y. So here becomes 6y is equal to, now what do we have here now? 3 minus 3. The same thing applies. Minus times minus is plus. 3 plus 3 is what? 6. Now what do? We are looking for the value of y. Now for us to get y, we divide both sides by anything that is making what? Y not to stand below, and which is 6. So here becomes over 6, and here becomes over 6. Now when 6 cancels out, so what do we have? Y becomes 6 divided by 6 is 1. Now the value of y is 1. Now that the value of y is 1, what is the next thing we are looking for now? X. Now to get x, you can use either equation 1 or use equation 2. Any of the equations you get, you can get the value of x. So far, anywhere you see y, substitute the value, which is 1. Okay, right about now, I will be using equation 2 to get the value of x. Now, if I'm using equation 2, it means I'm using the second equation, which says x minus 2y is equal to minus 3. But anywhere I see y, I put the value of 1. So here becomes x minus 2 bracket 1 is equal to negative 3. Now, here becomes x minus 2 times 1 is 2 is equal to negative 3. Now, what happened? Minus 2 will meet negative 3 because both of them, they are not carrying x. Now, when minus 2 crosses, it becomes plus 2. So here becomes x is equal to minus 3 plus 2. And you know what that means? Minus means you are owing 3. Plus means you have 2. Now, when you pay the 2 that you have from the 3 that you owe, how much will be left that you are owing is 1. Now, what sign will show you are owing? Minus. So automatically, x is equal to minus 1. So what does that mean? It means, therefore, x is minus 1 and y, what's the value for y? Y is 1. That is the answer to that question. Indices leading to simultaneous equation. That's the answer. Okay, now going to our last problem for today, which is indices leading to quadratic equation. Now, just the way you have simultaneous equation, you also have quadratic equations. Now, these are topics that we are going to be solving one after the other as time progresses. But just try your best to understand what I'm going to do now. When we get there, you understand better because we'll talk about it more. Now, the last question for today. Now, the last question for today says 9 raised to the power of x minus 10 times 3 raised to the power of x plus 9 is equal to 0. Okay, now let's start working. Let us take a look at this question. 9 raised to the power x, we have 3 raised to the power x here. Now, our main aim is to bring out 3 raised to the power s from 9 raised to the power s. And how can we do that? First is to break base 9 to base 3. And remember we said for us to break base 9 to base 3, it is 3 raised to the power 2, which is 3 times 3. So automatically here becomes 3 raised to the power of 2 bracket x minus 10 times 3 raised to the power x plus 9 equal to 0. Now what do? Remember I said our main aim here is to bring out 3 raised to the power x from here. So hope you know that if you have 2x, it is the same thing as x2. They are the same thing. If you have 4y, it is the same thing as y4. If you have xy, it is the same thing as yx. So what does that mean? It means if I have, okay, let's bring it out. Brackets mean times. So here becomes 3 raised to the power 2 times s will give us 2x minus 10 times 3 raised to the power x plus 9 equals to 0. Now, this 2x can also be written as x2 if you swap. So here becomes 3 raised to the power x2 minus 10 times 3 raised to the power x plus 9 equal to 0. Now what do? You say let any variable at all. Let me use p. Let p equal to 3 raised to the power of x. Now what does that mean? Anytime we see 3 raised to the power x in this question, we replace it as p. So now remember we have 3 raised to the power s here. Now if 3 raised to the power s now is p, what will be here? Here becomes p raised to the power 2. Because this 3 raised to the power x is now p. So it means there is no more 3 raised to the power x, there is now p. So what's remaining there? Square. That's my square there. Minus 10 times, now 3 raised to the power s is p. Here is p plus 9 equals to 0. Now without wasting time, here becomes p raised to the power 2 minus 10 times p will give us 10p plus 9 equals to 0. This is quadratic equation. Now, what method? There are different methods for solving quadratic. You have factorization, you have completing square method, you have formula method, and so on and so forth. You have graph. Now, which method should we apply in solving this first problem? Now, let us apply the formula method. Now, the formula method says p is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Now, this is the formula method. Some students refer to it as almighty formula. But now, what is b, what is a, and what is c? Like I said, we will explain this math better. But for the purpose of this question, let's be fast about it. Now, in this math, my a is equal to 1, my b is equal to minus 10, and my c is equal to 9. Now, let me try my best to explain what I just did. Now, in quadratic equation, we have the general formula. The general formula is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. Now watch me. Let us relate that formula to this max here. A simply means the number that x squared is carrying. Now, we don't have x squared here. We have p because we replace with p. We did not replace with x. Now, it means my a in this master is anything that p squared is carrying. Now, what number is p squared carrying here? 1. That's my a. A is 1. Now, b simply means any number that ordinary x is carrying without a power. Ordinary x. Now, my ordinary p here. Look at my ordinary p here. This is ordinary p. Now, what number is ordinary p carrying? Minus 10. So that becomes your b. That's why my b is minus 10. And then c is a constant, the number without x. Now, what is the number without p here? 9. That is why my c is 9. So without wasting time, class, let's go there. Substituting these values into the formula, it becomes p is equal to minus, now b now is minus 10. Plus or minus square root of b also is minus 10. So we have minus 10 raised to the power 2 because of the square in the formula. Minus 4 into the bracket of a. My a is 1. C. My c is 9. Close the bracket. All over 2 bracket a. A is 1. Okay, now without wasting time, let's try to make it on the board properly. You see, now, first of all, minus times minus is plus. So what do we have here? 10. Plus or minus square root of. Now, minus 10 raised to the power 2 simply means minus 10 times minus 10. And you know what that means? Minus times minus is plus. 10 times 10 is 100. So it means minus 10 raised to the power 2 is 100. So here becomes 100. Okay, now minus. Okay, 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 9. 4 times 9 will give us what? 36. So here becomes 36. All over 2 times 1 will give us 2. Now without wasting time, here becomes equal to 10 plus or minus square root of 100 minus 36 will give us 64. So here becomes the square root of 64 over, what do I have here? 2. Now, let me introduce something to you. If you have A plus or minus B, it simply means A plus B or A minus B. Because we have two signs here, plus and minus. So when you separate it, it becomes A plus B or A minus B. Exactly what is going on here. But before we do that, here becomes 10 plus or minus square root of 64 is 8. All over 2. Now, you will notice that I have plus or minus here. So this mass is going to appear 2 times. So this thing simply means 10 plus 8 over 2 or 10 minus 8 over 2. Separating them. Now, when you do this, here becomes 10 plus 8 will give us 18 over 2 or 10 minus 8 will give us 2 over 2. Now, 18 divided by 2 is 9 or 2 divided by 2 is 1. So what does that mean? Therefore, now watch, listen, we are not done solving this math. We are not done solving this math because the question is for us to find the value of x and not to find the value of p. We were the one that introduced p. So it means these two answers that we got is for p. Therefore, p is equal to 9 or p is equal to 1 because I have two answers. Why do I have two answers? Because it is a quadratic equation question. A quadratic equation question. Now, this is not what we are looking for. But this is what we have to get first before we get what we are looking for. Now, what are we going to do now? We come here. We are done with the class. We erase here. Once you have gotten the values of p, you will now say, recall that from this place that we say recall that p is equal to 3 raised to the power x. Now, we are going to solve 2 times because why? We have 2 answers. Now, the first p we are going to use is 9. You will now write when p equal to 9. That was the first answer we got, 9. Now, anywhere I see p, what will I put there? 9. So here becomes 9 is equal to 3 raised to the power of x. Now, the base here is 9, the base here is 3. For me to make base 9 become base 3, here becomes 3 raised to the power 2. So here becomes 3 raised to the power 2 is equal to 3 raised to the power x. Now, because the bases are the same and you have an equality sign separating it, what happened? 3 cancel 3, x is equal to 2. This is the first answer. Now, how do you get the second answer? You will now use when p equals to 1. Now, coming back to this place, anywhere I see p, I will put 1. So here becomes 1 is equal to 3 raised to the power of x. But now, I cannot cancel out because the bases are different. Now, how can I make 1 to carry a base of 3? It is simple, right? 3 raised to the power 0. Because anything raised to the power of 0 is 1. So automatically, here becomes 3 raised to the power of 0 is equal to 3 raised to the power of x. Now the bases are the same. When 3 cancel out 3, x is equal to 0. Therefore, x is 0. Or, what's the other answer we got? X is what? 2. That becomes the answer to that question. With these 4 questions that we have solved today, we have come to the end of the topic indices. In our next class, I'll be introducing the next topic that we're going to be treating. Please don't forget to subscribe, share, comment, and put on your notification button. Till we meet again, in our next class. My name remains Jefferson, aka Jeff Nino. God bless you all.